Module 2, Lesson 3, Python Data Structures. So, what are Python data structures? Data structures are simply data types that can hold larger number of items. As compared to variables, which can hold only one items, data structures can hold more than one items. That is, even longer list of items. The major data structures in Python are tuples, dictionaries, lists, and sets. So let us dive in and see how we can work with data structures. Right here we're going to jump on what we call tuples. Tap apples. I mean not like tapping apples, I mean tuples. This here. They are immutable. By immutable I mean you cannot change their length once they are formed, or even modify their values once they are formed. This is what I mean. Let's say I have a tuple known as tuple 1, and the way you create tuples, you put some brackets like that. Let's say it has a value of 1, it has a value of 50.9, and it's a value of string, which is my name, Kevin Amai. And so let us just run this tuple to see right here. If I run this code, it prints the tuple down here. And so if I try something stupid like this, let's say I'm just learning coding for the first time, and I'm like, I need to modify this tuple. And I say like, I want to modify the second item, that is 50.9. And so before I continue, this first item here is being represented by an index of 0. So if I put here 0 and let me just run print. If I run this code, you see it prints 1. So this first item here is being represented by this index of 0. What I'm doing here, I'm saying I want to access the item with the index 0, starting from 0, 1, 2. So this tuple here has 3 items with 3 indexes, 0, 1, and 2. And so if I print here, let's say 1, you can guess it prints 50.9. But now, let's say I'm crazy enough, I come tuple 1, I'm like, I want to change this second guy, and I want to put him to be 78.0, and I run my code, and I'm like, what is up, man? And then I go to the documentation and I learn tuples are immutable. Still I don't believe. I come back, and this time now I try to change the length of the tuple. You see, this tuple has 1, 2, 3 items. Now I try to do something like this. I try to say tuple, then I put 0, 1, 2, then I put 3 to add an item. Then I say I want to add a name of someone who I know is known as Philemon Okadie. So if I try to run this code, I'm like, what is wrong with this computer, man? It's because tuples are not mutable, they are immutable. You cannot change them. Once you are being formed, it is final. You cannot change their length, and you cannot add a new item to that. So there are many ways you can apply tuples. In any case, if you wish to make some immutable values which cannot be changed later, then it is one way you can apply tuples. Let us say, for example, you wish to create some definition of your server, and you don't want to change later. Let's say it has an host, let's say it's localhost, and let's say the password maybe is crazy 546. And so you don't want any person to change this password when running this code again. And so you can use a tuple such that when a person tries to change any of this item right here, it will end up giving an error, or rather throwing an error. And that is it, guys. You've just learned tuples. Bingo! The next data structure that we are going to look at are lists. Unlike tuples, lists are mutable. Let me just write here, lists are mutable. And by this, guys, I mean that lists, you can change their values, you can change their length, and you can do some wonderful modification unlike the tuples. Let us just create the list here, list 1. And the way you create a list, you use these square brackets. And now let me just pass my name inside here, Kevin Amai. Let me just pass the age of my great-great-great-grandfather. And let me just pass some weird number here, I don't know. And if I run this code, we just print this. You see the list is printed down here. And so let us say I wish to change my name right here. And my new name, let's say it is this guy by the name Python guy. If I run this code again and print the list down here, you'll find that now my name has been changed to what? To Python guy. And again, if I wish to add a new item, I can use a function by the name list1 dot, you say append is to add. Let me say I want to add a name, let's say Philemon Okadie. And now let's just print this list down here. You see, my new list has now the name Philemon Okadie at the end. Now, if I wish to remove any item from this list, the only thing I'm required to do, I'm just required to write list1 dot pop. And there we go. As simple as that. If I run this code, you see it prints Philemon Okadie. And if I print my list and run this code, the name Philemon Okadie is gone. If I run list1 dot pop and I run this code again and print my list down here, you see that 3.45.56 blah blah blah, it is gone. And now there are some also wonderful functions you can perform on this list. We call this slicing. Let me just add some more items to this list so that you can understand better. So list1 dot append, let me just append mango. If I run my code right here, this should be list1 append mango. Let's say list1 dot append electronics. I don't know why even I'm writing that. Run that code, and the last item we want to append here, list1 dot append freshman, like that. And so let us just print our code, our list again, and here we have our list. And so if I wish to extract this item Python guy 89 mango and electronics, this item 0 1 2 3, instead of writing like this, list1 0 until this is the fourth item, which has the third index in this list, instead of writing like this, in order to extract up to this, I will have to write like this. And now if I print this list, you see it has extracted Python guy 89 mango and electronics. And so if I wish to extract up to here, this is 0 1 2, I will write like this, list1 0, but instead of writing 2, I will write 3, this one here. And if I run my code, it prints up to mango. And that is the way you work with slicing. And what about if I wish to extract this guy right here by the name freshman? The way I can do it without struggling, I can just write list1 square brackets, and then I can just do -1. -1 means you start on your opposite side rather than starting on the normal side, which is right here. Rather than starting from this first index 0, you start on your opposite side, or rather the end. So by me running this code, it will print this guy by the name freshman. And now if I want to fetch out this guy by the name electronics, what I can do, I can just write list2, and then inside here I can pass -2. And if I run this code, this should be list1. And if I run this code, you see it prints electronics. And again, if I want to print mango, I can just do something like this: list1 -3. And if I run this code, it prints mangoes. And then what about if I want to print, let's say, every element from mangoes onwards? The trick I can do here, I can just write list1, then I can write, this is 1, this is 0 rather, this is 1, this is 2. I can just do like this, 2 full colon, and then I leave blank on the other side. And if I run this code, you see it prints mango, electronics, and freshman. And if I want to print from here 89 to freshman, then I can do this. This is 0, 1. So I can just come here and do something like this: list 1, and then I write 1, the index representing 89, full colon, then I leave it like that. And if I run this code, it does some magic and it prints 89 and everything that is after 89. And what about, let's say I wish to print everything starting from Python until electronics? Here again, it is pretty simple. What I can do something like list1 electronic. As we have seen here, it is in the index -2. So what I can do, I can just write full colon -2. And if I run this code, it does some magic and it prints Python 89 and mango. But please notice this, when I run with the negative, it doesn't print the one that belongs to the index which you have included in this list. So it doesn't print the value electronics which has been included here. The same if I do something like this, list1 square brackets, and if I put my colon there and I put -1, if I run this code, you see it doesn't print freshman. And that is the most basic function you can perform on a list. And please keep this in mind: lists are mutable, tuples are immutable. Now guys, we are going to look at what we call dictionaries. Dictionaries are another, let me just write here, dictionaries. These are another data structures, but unlike the list and the tuples, dictionaries are key value pair data structures. By this I mean, when you're creating a dictionary, you have to create a key and a value associated with that key. Now this is how we create, let's say, dictionary 1. This is how you create dictionaries. You use curly braces, and let me say I have a list of fruits. Let me say mango. This is the key. This one here is the key, and its price, let's say, maybe is $20. I also have, let's say, tomatoes, and its price, let's say, is maybe $10. And also, let's say I have something like apples, and its value is let's say maybe $30. Let me just print the dictionary here. I'm kind of lazy, so let me just copy this guy right here and just print him right down here. And so once you run this dictionary, you see it prints here, this is the key and this is the value. It is a kind of key value pair data structure. And by any case, if I wish to access the keys of this dictionary, the only thing I'm required to do, to do something like dictionary1 dot keys. This is a method. And then if I run this code, you see it prints all the keys that are stored in this dictionary. And if I wish to access the values associated with these keys, the only thing I'm required to do, I can do something like this: dictionary1 dot values. If I run this code, you see it will print the values 20, 10 and 30, which are the value which I stored associated with these keys. So guys, it's as simple as this. Dictionaries are simply key value pair data structures. You can use them. For example, you have something that has an associated value. For example, if you wish to store the names of students who did an exam and you want to store alongside with their marks, you can do something like this. Let's say students underscore marks. Then you create a dictionary just like this. Let's say the first student is by the name Gavin. Maybe he got 78%, and then another student by the name Robert Beans. Maybe he got, let's say, 80%, and maybe another student by the name Stephen Ball, maybe he got let's say 90%. And so what happened is that if I wish to access the names of the student who got the exam, I'll do the same thing that I've done above. Just say student underscore marks, and then I just run this guy by the name dot keys. And if I run this code, you just see that it will print the names of the student who did the exam. And what about if I wish to access their marks? I just say students underscore marks, then I run this code by the name key dot keys, sorry. And if I run this code, you see that it will print it, or rather this should be values. Let me just change here, this should be values. You see, if I run this code, now it prints the marks of the student. Also concerning dictionaries are mutable, which means you can change their values, can also alter their length. For example, if I wish to add an item here in this dictionary known as student marks, let's say I have another student who did the exam after the others, I can just do something like this: students underscore marks, and then I can just pass his name here. Let's say it is called Abraham. That's pretty interesting name, Abraham Brian. Let's say Abraham Brian, and maybe got 50%. Yeah. And so you see, if I run this code and if I print my dictionary again down here, you'll see it will print now my dictionary with the name Abraham Brian added into the dictionary. What about if I wish to delete, let's say, a student from this dictionary? I can just use this function by the name del, like that. Then I can do something like this: students underscore marks. Then I can just pass the name of the guy inside this list. I can just say Kevin Amai. This should be in quotes, like that. And if I run this function, you see now if I print my list again, student underscore marks. If I print my dictionary again, now the name Kevin Amai is gone. It is as simple as that. If you want to delete an item from this dictionary, you're only required to use this function by the name there. And let's say I want to create a list of names of the people who did the exam. The only thing I'm required to do, I can just do this. I can just do list. This is a function for creating a list. Then I can pass in students underscore marks dot keys. These are the keys that contains the name. So I can just do like this. Let us say maybe I store this in variable known as student names. Let me just print the students names down here, and if I run this code, you see now it has changed the braces to be a square brackets, because now it is a list. This is no longer a dictionary but a list. I can do the same thing with, let's say, with the marks. Let me just copy this guy here. Let me just copy this guy here and paste him right here. And paste him right here and change this to be, let's say this should be marks. Right here should also be marks. And now instead of putting here keys, what I can do, can put here values. And if I run this code, you see it will print a list of the marks of the student who did the exam. And those are some of the operations which you can perform on a dictionary. Later on we'll go deeper and even we'll use more complex operation on this dictionary, but for now this is enough for you to understand dictionaries and the basic operation that you can perform on a dictionary. Now the last data structures that I'd like us to consider, they are known as sets. Let me just write here sets. So now sets are simply unordered data structures that also do not support duplicates. What do I mean when I say unordered and they also do not support duplicates? Let me just create a set here so that we can understand better. The way you create set, you use curly braces just like the dictionaries. However, they are not key value pairs as the dictionaries. So let me just put the days of the week inside here. Monday, let's say Tuesday, let's say Wednesday, let's say Thursday, let's say Friday. So these are the days of the week. And suppose I do something like this. I add a duplicate for Monday like so, and I do something like this. So if I print this set again down here, you see something interesting here, because number one, you find that I listed the items inside here in a certain order: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Then I did put a duplicate here of Monday. But when I print this set again down here, you see it is now totally unordered. It starts from Friday, Monday, Thursday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And if you notice, another thing is that the Monday, which I did put a duplicate, it is only used once here. There is no duplicate. So sets are used in situation whereby you wish to consider, or rather to store items in an unordered form, and also you wish to consider that these unordered lists or items should not contain duplicates. That is the best time you can use what? You can use sets. And so sets do not allow you to change their values. For example, if I try to do something like this, I say Tuesday, let's say I just don't know the days of the week, and so I change it to January. I change it to January. And so if I run this code, I'm being told here set object does not support item assignment, which means I cannot change their values inside here once they're done what? once they are formed. And if I want to check if a value is in the set, I can do something like Monday. Let me just use this Monday, and then I can put in, then I can say set 1, and if I run this code, you see it actually prints true, which means that Monday is in this set. But if I do something like this, if I say February in set 1, it prints false because February is not in this set. These are the most basic data structures in Python. And once you understand these data structures, it will be so easy for you to work with what we call data sets in data science. And so guys, if you find time, go through this list, and once you've done going through these data structures, we'll be good and ready to proceed to the next lesson. Thank you.